as though I have conquered death. I live death every day. I am surrounded by it, smothered by it. Look at you now. He would have everlasting life. You seek to defy death, yet you cannot even defy sleep. And our like sleep is to death. It is a painted death.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Everybody calm down!
Help!
Here,
Oh,
take my hand.
ah!
Come on. You're gonna fall unless you take my hand.
No, give me your other hand.
Oh, my other hand isn't strong enough. You take my little hand.
No, get it away from me!
Take it. Take my hand.
Ah!
I hear the train a-comin', it's rollin' round the bend.
Wow, 15 people. I thought it was just going to be me in Perth. So thank you very much, everyone. I'm trying to see how late I can push this, and I don't want to step on Finn's toes because this is normally his witching hour, but he's not live. So I thought I have skulls. You have no one to watch. Let's do that together. And the good thing is, there's not many people to say hello to. So. See, there's Perth. Hello, Perth. We have the legend himself, Mr. Russ Leach, aka Comic Book Black Belt. He says, I've come to witness greatness. Well, thank you for the pressure there, Russ. Much appreciated. All the way over there in the UK. So I guess I'm going to be saying hello to mostly Australians, Europeans, British. I don't know if you can count yourself as Europeans. Probably not. Night Owls. David G, where are you at? I don't know where David G is from, but he's finally gets to catch a live stream. It's great to see you, David. Andrew Campbell looks like likely an Aussie. Says big ups. He's got that Harbour Bridge there. Apparently, the bridge is not famous anywhere else in the world. That's what I'm told. Linkovich says hello from California. Yeah, European. Yuck. British do not like that. We have Eric Hutfuls in the house. He says, I'm usually asleep, but I fell asleep right after Kings. I just woke up an hour ago. What the hell time is it over there? Author extraordinaire, Mr. John A. Douglas says, good morning. Hello to you. Awesome one's in Tennessee, where I believe they make, is it rye? What do they make there in Tennessee? I know. Someone asked me, like, what's the difference between Scotch and bourbon? I was like, it's just where it's made, pretty much. He is an Aussie. Proud, clearly. He's in Brisbane, though. He's just visiting Sydney there. Xevious, good morning from sunny Canada. Look at all you night owls or early owls. He works odd hours. It's 5:45. I'm often, or back in the day, I would be watching streams early in the morning at 5 o'clock. I'd get up and watch a Shant stream. Massive shout out to Shant Anjetti, who did an amazing painting stream this morning. Painted the Lucent thing, the Lucent painting. It was very inspirational. We were throwing out inspirational quotes. The early bird gets the worm. Look, even Jeremy is up. What are all you guys doing? I mean, thank you. Thank you for being here. So essentially, here's the deal. I had a 24-page challenge that I set for myself. The final sequence of the book. It all takes place in that manor, that English British manor in Kent. And I got close. I didn't quite make it. I think I've probably got about another week or so to go on those colors, which is annoying, but it is what it is. I had a really good crack at it. I mean, I'm full time. I could have done it in probably 15 days if I didn't have to work, but that's not, neither here nor there. But after intense. I was up till midnight every night, every single night without fail, coloring, and still didn't make it. And I just was like, all right, head about to explode. I had this panel I had an idea of. There's this sequence in, actually, I should probably show it to you. I've shown it before, so let's just show it again. How do I do this? I gotta turn off some notes and stuff. Actually, that's fine. Where is it? Where is it? All right. You've seen this artwork before, so it's not spoilery. Awesome one says we vote in primary today. Cool. Go Away is here and gives us a red circle of some kind. Well, thank you. Thank you. Sydney Harbour Bridge is just a copy of America's Hell Gate Bridge. I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know that. Yeah, Mel had no idea what it was. She only knows about the Opera House. I was like, that's an outrage. All right, I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to start sharing this. So, is it sharing? No, it's just in a weird format that I don't like. Move some things around here. There we go. And so this is our first look at Let's Go, which is the main residence in Paris of the bad guys, essentially. No, I haven't. I haven't had a chance to watch any TV. Like I said, I'm up till midnight every night, ignoring the outside world. So I'm hearing great things about it, though. I will be watching it, but no, I haven't watched anything. We got Manticore in the house. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Ross. Yeah, I'm not quite finished with the colors here, but I got it to this point and I thought, okay, I'm headed in the right direction. A few little touch-ups here and there. So essentially we're zooming down. Like if you imagine we're coming in satellite view through Google Earth, so that's that building there. And then we get a closer look. Now we're into one of the top floors. This is actually the top-down view of this library featured on this cover. So I've got to put some kind of window, the light streaming in through the windows there. And then underneath that, they're doing a little bit of training, martial arts training. And now here, I just had this flat, it looked like a sphincter. I wish I could show you what I had earlier. It really did look like an anus, a gaping rectum. It was just flat, and then it had a black hole right in the middle of it, and it all kind of went there. And I always knew, I was like, damn, people are going to say this looks like an anus. What is this? And because I thought about having, a view from the top of the pit. Think 300, where the guy gets kicked down. And yeah, gross, right? And then I thought, that's just lazy. That's not cool. What would be really cool? If I actually got inside the pit tunnel thing and it was just lined in skulls. So yeah, that's what I decided. I thought I can take a break from coloring and finally get that panel done. And that's like directly underneath it is that pit that, you know, we've seen, I've shown off already. And someone actually said this would make great bookmarks. It's in the perfect format, and you could flip it and it would be, you know, one side to the other. So I'm probably going to do that. Turn this into a bookmark, make a stretch goal for when I put this on, you know, all the crowdfunding platforms. So I drew these skulls, started yesterday, finished them earlier over on Eric Weathers' channel when I was hanging out with him. So now I'm coloring them. Let's bring that up here. The sphincter mark. Well, sphincter mark no more. Now we have this cool. I said it was a bottomless pit. It's not really bottomless. It's just functionally bottomless, I guess, from this perspective. We have Fanta in the house. How you going, Fanta? And I think that's everyone who's joined. Unless we have some lurkers in the house. Matty Dubs. Yo. Looks like an eye. One does not this hand. One does not simply walk into Lascaux. Lascaux is the name of the cave where they have really, truly ancient cave pictures and stuff. My kids went there when they visited France. It's also what they've named this big residence building. So anyway, I'm up to the flatting. We'll see how far we can get. Hopefully we can get this thing colored. I've got a couple of hours before I've got to turn in. So I did do a little bit of warping. So some of these flats are off now. I didn't like the some of the shape of the, it looked kind of like it was bulging in a place. So I had to sort of warp the line art, and now some of these flats are off. So I just got to quickly go in and fix some of them up. I've only flatted one side. You can see, because originally I just drew, and you can't really see just like that. There we go. And just like the bricks or stonework, I like to just pick a couple of colors and then randomly spread them out, just to get, it gives a bit of, adds a bit of charm, you know, adds a bit of depth, a bit of character. Right side looks like tribbles. They do look a bit like, at that view, yeah. Because you get up here, you can sort of see the sides of them, and then gradually you seeing just the tops, and then as you go down into the dark. As always, I'll use the colors a little bit to accentuate the effect. They look pretty good. All good up there. All good in the hood. All right. So essentially, I'm just going to take that one color, and now I'm just going to start doing the same thing over here. So the wonders of making comics. Do you do your own flats, Russ? I can't remember. I can't remember if you have a colorist. I think you do. I know you do colors yourself because I've seen your beautiful colors. But I don't know if you do the colors in your book, or if you do the colors, if you do the flats yourself. I should probably hire a flatter, but I end up just doing it myself because I know how to do it right, and I can't be bothered waiting. So yeah, I just randomly pick. I try not to be too random. I try not to make it too all spaced out, like put some of them next to each other and stuff like that. But yeah, you get the drift. Fuck Google says that's a lot of head. It is, right? Thank you for the 2. It is. That's the point. And that's just the tunnel in. There's so many more down there in the catacombs. I was telling Eric actually earlier about my voyage to the Parisian catacombs and what a crazy experience it was, and how I was like, okay, well, this is 100% going into my book. I mean, it's such a crazy place, and the fact that it's buried underneath Paris and everything is just going on up on the ground level as if nothing is down there is crazy. And that's a lot of like what the Lucent is about. There's stuff happening that people aren't seeing, and everyone is just going about their day unaware. That's a cool concept. And plus, it shows a lot of time. It takes a long time to collect this many skulls. More than a natural lifespan, I would wager. Russ does do his own flats. Yeah. And Russ, in case anyone isn't aware, Russ's book, he's got his 2 books out, is Only Death Can Save Us. He's got a new book out, which is it's an adaptation or a new story, I can't remember, of a oh god, I'm going to forget his name now. The Howard guy. You know the guy. The guy. Robert E. Howard. Is that it? Someone like that, anyway. That's coming soon. Anyway, Russ does that very much. Actually, he's one of the best at that Bronze era style. Never forget that Galactus piece you have. It's so cool. You share around sometimes. We got Jasper in the house. What's up, Jasper? It is late, Jasper. So many night owls. I had no idea you were all staying up this late. This is crazy. Or you get up early. I don't know. Either or. The Shadow Kingdom. He says, I can't stay long. I believe. I expect it. It's great to have you here anyway. Skip Edwards also starting to stream again and putting out shorts of his book Sleight of Hand, which we are all eagerly anticipating. Skip, I hope the script is good. Jasper just finished Ghost of Matacumbe Key. How is it? Thumbs up, thumbs down. I still haven't gotten any Graham's books yet. I'm going to get them all at once. I was hoping I could get some in Tampa, but he sold them all out like first day. He just had scraps left by the time I got to him. He says Trashcast kept me up. Then I read, I was checking out Trashcast, but he was watching the same video. I swear to God, he was that Lunga guy who I have no idea who that is, by the way. I swear he watched that the other day. I was like, am I taking crazy pills, or we've seen this before just the other day? And I was like, it didn't seem that interesting the first time around. But anyway, it was dinner time anyway, so it was late for him to do it. Jasper says, okay, this is Ghosts of Matacumbe Key. Good. It ties in other Nolan books together, but it can be read on their own. That is exactly what I expect. Yeah, I'm going to get all of Graham's stuff. I've just recently received Wraith of God. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I imagine I'm going to get all of Aaron's stuff too. The Kit Carter stuff looks amazing. Probably going to get everything from Mike Barron from now on too, because everything I've received has been excellent. Way, way, way above average. And I'm not just saying that because he likes the Lucent too. Although he does. I just like to point that out. Go away. It says, yay, it's midnight, at least in this time zone. I wonder what time zone that is. Not too far from here, I reckon. Probably, well, if we're first, it's probably... Ooh. Actually, you must be... Are you in New Zealand? Because you're ahead of me, so you're in the future. So you must be in New Zealand. Are you from New Zealand, bro? Did you get Smokes the Fox Bancroft? No, I didn't. I missed that one as well. I know Mike wrote that one. That Smokes the Fox came out during a time where I wasn't backing anything, not a single thing. It didn't matter even if I really wanted it. It was just a really bad time. On top of everything, the shipping. Graham should make a slipcase. Yeah, he absolutely should. He'll have enough stuff. He'll definitely do that. Graham's a pro. He'll figure it all out. I see he recently got his new challenge coins in. Graham, when we met, he's like, "What's a Bancroft?" I was like, "Ah." That was funny. It's funny. Camel grew up reading Graham. Well, looking at the art and stuff, but reading the books that Graham worked on. So it was a totally different experience for him meeting Graham than for me, who was never a DC guy and has known Graham through CG. So it was just a real different experience, but it was very cool in both regards. He's such a cool guy. Jasper's a sucker for the challenge coins. They look really cool. I didn't realize he was there for the full color coins and everything. I want to do a coin. I know what coin I'm going to do. It's just a matter of actually getting around to doing it and making sure I can afford it and all that sort of stuff. I tell you, I was talking about this with Eric Weathers. It's like, at this point, now that I know people are interested in reading the Lucent, I am just going to get it all done beforehand, because for me, the stress is not worth it. It was funny. I was saying that to Eric, and then Ethan showed that guy on his stream who did a whole book, and with no audience whatsoever, and just had it made, and then no one bought it. And I was like, oh my god. Yeah, in that instance, you really want to crowdfund and see if there's any interest in what you're doing. And the book looked good. It was just exactly what he said. Without marketing in this game, you are DOA. DED on arrival. Darkside in the house. I knew we would get some of our Euro friends in here. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. I'm just trying to get as quick through the boring stuff as quickly as possible. It's not difficult flatting a tunnel of skulls, but it needs to be done. And then, yeah, justice for Eugene. Yeah. Actually, I think I seem to recall it sounded familiar, it looked kind of familiar. And I was like, there's something about this. And I think he was in this chat at some point. I think that's what happened, because I went to go check my DMs to see if this guy had ever reached out to me, and he had, but it was just a link. So I can't remember. He didn't DM me and say, "Hey man, I've got this book. Would you maybe?" He just sent me a link to the book, but then I replied and said, "Oh, this looks really cool," and then he just gave that a like. So it's like, I seem to recall he might have been in the chat. We had a little brief conversation in the chat, and he said, I'll DM you a link to my book, and then just left it at that. So, but I do remember thinking that's a hard sell. Eugene is it's not really capturing the, you know. Gotblade, is live stream marketing if you don't already have an audience? Look, it doesn't really matter. Having the audience is what matters. However you get it. And as long as you can keep the audience engaged, it really doesn't matter how you do it. You don't have to live stream. You could do videos. You could be someone else, do someone else. Like we were talking about, I was talking about this on a stream the other day. You could be a web tuner. It doesn't really matter. This is having the audience. The key is having a large enough group of people actually interested in what you're doing and keeping it in their minds and thinking, oh yeah, when this comes out, I'm going to back it. That's really all it is. It's just how do you do that? And doing nothing is probably the worst thing, and also probably the most common thing, unfortunately. And you know, we see what happens. My God, have we seen what happens? Even the best, most phenomenal art, if no one knows about it or is already kind of thought, I'm going to back this when it comes out, it will just fall flat on its face. And we've seen that happen and play out, and it's really sad. Maybe he was really shy. I don't know. He seemed like he could speak well enough. And he was doing videos. I think I think it was what he said. He's like, I don't want to get involved in the culture war and everything. All right. I know a lot of people don't. But that doesn't mean, like, getting involved in the culture war doesn't necessarily mean you have to get out there and fight with everyone. You know, you can still interact with the scene, you know? Come say hi. Hang out in the chat. You know, no one's asking you to become an activist overnight, but like, get involved, have people know who you are and stuff like that. But even if you don't want to do that, you got to do something. You got to do something. You can't just do nothing and expect people to just stop what they're doing in their lives and come support you. I mean, it doesn't work like that. It never has. He needs a stern talking from Samedi, says Jasper. Yeah, Samedi, exactly. He's well, I think Ethan gave him a dose of reality as well. He wants to take a Kickstarter course, but doesn't seem to understand the basics. Yeah, those are scams. I mean, that's just do not take a Kickstarter course, whatever you do, unless the person who's giving the course is someone like Pat Shand, who's raised $1 million, and it's like a proper course that he is gonna mentor you personally. Unless it's something like that, then yeah. If it's just hey, I've got some videos that I made and I'm going to email them to you and they're top secret, and it's like, that's a waste of time and money. You're better off just interacting with the community in a God, people have done it. Look at Hojo. He came out of nowhere and raised $10,000 or something just by hustling. Just by actually getting out there and marketing. Genuine says, I never understand what creators expect when they throw a link in someone's DM. Well, I don't know. I can't remember. It does happen. I can't remember if he did that. But yeah, if someone just threw a link to their book at me, yeah, I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't even click on it unless it really looked amazing. And even then, that would be the end of it. Perth says, you should have realized Eugene's greatness and chased him to have him on your show. Yeah, you got to get guys like Arik in your camp. You got to get to know guys like Arik and Mortal V and KSS and all these guys. Felix Huss, of course. You know, you got to get those guys in your corner to want to actually, you know, shoot your links around. You're not going to do that by never interacting with them, never hanging out with them. Like, that's just silly. Yeah. Build an audience, exactly. However you do it. Some people have newsletter, like e-news audiences, you know, and they do great. And it's like mystifying. Where do these guys get all their backers from? They've got 15, 20,000 people on their email lists. Jasper says, Mange needs to make a series of self-help books with Mange. Oh my God. I don't think that formula, I don't think the Mange formula is easily, like, you can easily replicate it. It's a very specific style of guerrilla campaigning that I don't know if everyone can pull off. It might be a one of a kind situation. That's all I'm thinking. Fanta loves dropping links. Well, thank you, Fanta. We love you for it. Yeah, if you get the chat in your corner on some of these streams, I mean, they'll be dropping your link in the chat while thousands of people are watching, of comic book buyers. That's the secret sauce that you can't pay for that. You have to earn it, and you earn it by being taking part and you know, putting in, spending time. You can't buy that. Dave says, I heard that picking fights and doing multiple hour drama streams is also very profitable. That is also very profitable. We've seen that. Now, it might not be your cup of tea. I couldn't think of anything worse. I said this before. There's no way I could do that. I was just, you know, you wake up and, you know, half of your notifications are people who hate you, and that, again, a very specific approach. Not easy to replicate. Not easily reproduced. Although a lot of people seem to be taking that on and getting big numbers of late. Bancroft says, Massive Panda, what about creators who are cordial with people on both sides of the culture war, but then stay quiet when a major dispute breaks out to avoid taking sides? Can that person be successful? Well, I hope so, because that's me. I hope they can stay successful. You just have to understand, you can never make everyone happy. That is not possible. So you have to accept that no matter what you do, you're going to annoy someone, and some people are going to be disappointed in you, and they're not going to like what you're doing. So you can't bend over backwards to appease everyone. Personally, I think everyone should be able to hang out and, you know, be cool with whoever they want. And no one should be trying to tell anyone, you can't go there, you can't hang out with them, you can't be friends with them. That's my point of view. And you know, I see people in the chat like saying, oh, Anna is on Yellow Flash or whatever, she's a traitor. Like, you can't please that person if you have decided that you're going to just be cool with everyone, and you have to accept that. That's just like, okay, you've lost that person. But at the same time, you could have said, well, F, you know, Ethan, or F Yellow Flash, and taken a side. Then you would have pissed off the other half as well. Mike says, Jasper, what is my shirt's carrier pigeon location currently? Still in Melbourne, unfortunately, Jasper. Everything will be. We are in the end times, Jasper, of this thing. It is. We are coming to a head. So trust me, it's sitting on my shoulder every day, and Mel reminds me of it at every chance she remembers. Yeah, Dave has it right. Some people will be annoyed with you simply for being nice. Yeah, if you're nice to someone that they don't like, then they'll see that as a betrayal, and they won't. So it's like you just have to accept. You're gonna piss people off no matter what you do. So just do what you want to do. Yeah. Be a lotus eater, says Go Away. I don't really watch much of the Lotus Eaters. Is that what that means? I don't actually know what I know the Lotus Eater podcast, but I don't even know what a Lotus Eater is. Dave says I'm applying DEI on the skulls. Need a few more dark ones though. I think I've got a good amount in there. Appropriately, proportionally, you know, diverse, I feel. My skulls of color. Why is it doing that? Derek says, you are up late or early, my friend? He's getting ready for work. I am up late. I've decided that it's easier for me to consistently get the hours in right now if I stay up late. It's not something that I'm going to do long term, but probably until the book is done, I'm going to be staying up late. So up till, when I say late, I mean midnight, kind of my time. It's just easier for me to be consistent with that rather than what I normally do is get up early. I actually feel like I can get more hours in if I stay up late. It's a little harder on me physically. It's not good, you know, for family time and everything. But I'm getting more hours in. So at least until the book is done, which will be at least about another month and a bit. I think maybe a month and a half, hopefully. That's what I'll be doing. So yeah, I'll be doing a couple of these late night whatever streams, coloring, flatting, drawing, I don't know. Whatever I'm doing that day. It's a Greek myth, says Richie Duke. That's the Lotus Eater. I have to check that out. I wasn't aware of that. But that makes sense. Sargon. You know, it's funny. I came across Sargon's channel when he had about, I don't know, like 1,500 subs, because I had Sargon of Akkad, the historical character, in the Lucent. And then I was like, oh, this guy's funny. And he used to swear a lot back then. God, he used to be very Spicy. I listened to him for a long time through Gamergate and all that stuff. Godblade says, I wouldn't be able to resist trying using the coloring to indicate more light and shadow on all these skulls. Oh, well, that's the next stage, my friend. This is just to make sure it doesn't look like a kind of bland thing. I just sort of randomly color in skulls just to sort of, even though most skulls are actually the same color, especially at this age, how long they've been here. A little bit of artistic license, trying to make it look a bit like, this is how I would color stone or, well or something like that. Massive Panda says it's trying to work around the 9-to-5 job is a pain in the neck. Yeah. But at the same time, it's also kind of freeing because it means everything isn't hinging on your, success. Your whole livelihood isn't hinging on the success of your creative venture. So there's pros and cons. Obviously, the biggest con being you don't have all day. In fact, a large productive portion of your day is taken away from what you want to actually be doing. But, especially if you've got a family and responsibilities. Gotblade says, makes me feel better about the meticulous details in what I do. You got to balance it. I don't know. I wouldn't normally do this on a panel, but if you've got an interesting thing, I think it's fine to indulge yourself a little bit, go a bit overboard. Make people stop and go, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. This is relaxing, says Darkside. I agree. A lot of people despise flatting. It's almost like meditative, You can't really get it wrong. You just go at it, and there's no difficulty to it as long as you've got your settings set up properly. You can't really go wrong with it. It is, of course, time away from more difficult things, but that's always a good thing. It's actually something, doing the art and the colors. If something is really just doing my head in, and I've just been doing it for too long and I feel really over it, rather than just quitting and going and lying down on the couch and not being productive, yeah, you can start flatting or doing something else. That's the benefit if you are doing everything. Whereas I think if you're just drawing all day, that's all you do. Just say you do pencils, that's your entire job, and you've been doing pencils for 8 hours, and you're like, I cannot do any more. Well, then, yeah, you can't do any more. You're done for the day. But, take a little hour break, go hang out with the kids or whatever, and then come back and do some flatting. Listen to some music, put on a movie, whatever it is, put on a live stream, and you're good to go. That's how I work anyway. Flatting is Zen. You are right, Russ. It's peaceful. Now, having said that, the prospect of flatting an entire book as a job would be enough to make me want to jump off a bridge. But if you're just doing a little bit here and there as you go, it's actually very manageable. Some of these quote unquote skulls are so wonky. It's hilarious. But, adds a bit of charm. How's Nugget? Is Nugget here? No. He was inside. He gets a bit crazy at this hour. He starts to run around and, chase things and everything. We just had to put him outside, and he's starting to have a real hunting instinct. He went after and caught a rainbow lorikeet the other day, had it in his mouth, but I don't think he wants to eat them. He's not hungry or anything. He just wants to hunt. So it got away, and we saw it flying around. It had all its tail feathers were just like a jagged mess, but it was still flying. So they come here to eat our fig tree, and I guess some of the figs fall on the ground. And if there's a pack, it's a flock of about 12, and if the other ones are eating what's there, and you want, I guess it's easiest to eat something on the ground, except there's a cat down there, so take your chances. But it was weird. I heard the ruckus, and Clark ran in, and he's like, the cat ate a rainbow lorikeet. He killed it. He ate it. So I run out expecting to see a carcass, but it's just the cat sitting in the middle of the yard, and a bunch of really massive magpies up on the fence, just kind of squawking at him. So I thought, are you sure it was a rainbow lorikeet, not a mag? I thought he must have killed a magpie because they were really yelling at him. But they weren't. They were yelling on behalf of a different species, which I didn't know birds would do that, but they did. So I kind of shooed them away, and I went to look, and I couldn't find the bird. That's where I found all the tail feathers. So he just obviously he had it in his mouth, and then got bored. But I can hear the bats are out there now. They eat the figs at night, and they're bloody massive. They're fruit bats. Nugget is fighting the rainbow agenda. He is. He's not going to put up with it. These gay birds strutting around. They're very loud too. They're parrots, so yeah, they're really loud. Out there squawking, all day. He's not going to put up with it. But we've got our fence is lined with different berry bushes, blackberry and raspberry. They're quite dense, so he hides in them, and he's very camouflaged. So he gets into them, and then he just runs out of them. And yeah, they don't see him coming. He's getting pretty good at it. We all thought he was going to be a bit of a failure of a cat, but he's slowly leaning into it. Hello, Scarlet Fever. How are you? Welcome, welcome. All right, let's have a look here. What are we up to? How are we looking? I think that's pretty good. A little bit of a dead spot down here. Just get some of these in. All right. Flats are done. Godblade says we just have bear, deer, and coyotes here. And everyone says, no, don't go to Australia. Everything's going to kill you. We have parrots and cats and bats and possums. All the possums do is piss and crap on everything. They're cute too, though. We like the possums. All right. I think I'll check to see if these colors are what I want them to be. I think they're all good. Right, they're all good. Spiders driving cars? What? Yeah, Nugget's just earning his keep. He's trying to give us. He gave us a mouse at one point. He left us a mouse, and he did leave us a little bird. But other than that, he's been take. I don't really care for them. It's not what I'm looking for. But that's what they do. All right. I think first step, just some general shadow. Which is going to be a blue shadow into the cold. What's that? Is that the flats there? Yeah. I really don't want to overdo it though, because it's going to be quite dark. Oh, I am expecting delivery tomorrow of 1,500 Silver Age bags. I already got 1,500 backing boards. Now I need to get some little stickers to stick them together, and we'll be good to go. Well, Jeremy talking about Shogun. Yeah, I really got to. I'm just out of it at the moment. When does From start, Jeremy? You know I tell you what, that From short, it is still going. It's funny how whatever's trending at the time. So X-Men, obviously, a lot of people have been talking about X-Men. So all my X-Men shorts have been performing, but I guess people are ramping up to watch From because it's still going. I'm still getting so many comments from it, and it is, what's it on? Where is it? It's more than that. I just scroll. Oh, there it is. The best TV show you aren't watching, which is such a YouTube title. Yeah, it's up to 500,000 views. All these people are subscribing, expecting me to do From content. Oh well. Is the environment a place that's revisited from the previous Lucent comic? I feel like I'm having deja vu seeing the skulls, or was it an environment with skulls on the ceiling? Yeah, so it's this place. So, where are we? Let me zoom out here. Where am I? There. So that's at the bottom. That pit is at the bottom of the hole. The friggin' there's a pit at the bottom of the pit. And yeah, so all of these flying buttresses are also covered in skulls everywhere. And yeah, in one spot the skulls just go all the way up. And this is in Painted Death. This isn't in a previous book. So I know it probably feels like a previous book because it has been a while. But we're getting close to the finish line now. All right. Just painting in some shadow. It doesn't need much because I actually drew it into the art for once. Must have took you ages to do all this. It took me an ungodly amount of time. Yes. Well, this panel only took me, a day. But that other one took me forever. But it's a very important place, so I feel like there's a few panels, a few pages every book you really want to, spend some time on, some real time. Obviously, you can't do that on every page, but I hate it when it does that. Well, thank you, Massive Panda. Jay is here. Jay watched Shogun episode 1. Maybe I'll just take some time this weekend and check it out. How many episodes are out? 2? 3? I don't want to start getting into spoiler territory where you have to, watch it. Otherwise, you kind of, walking around on eggshells as everyone's talking about stuff. Did it again. It did it again. It just can't stay still. First two are good. It's a good show, but no dubs unless you know Japanese. It's annoying. Yeah, I don't mind. It's not something I normally would watch because I'm normally drawing, but I'm kind of I'm not doing that at the moment. So, all right, we have shadows, and then the Lord said, "Let there be light." So essentially, I'm going to. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to. I'm just checking. Let's try this first. Scarlet Fever says, I'm loving this skull portal. Is drawing at least that's what it looks like to me now. Well, it's like a it's a vertical. You're looking vertically down right now. This is you are going down underground. So they're stacked, face up around the wall in a circular fashion. And at the bottom of that is a pit full of very ominous looking red gloop, out of which a man ascends. It's all very creepy. There are robes involved, ancient things. If you are heading down to that pit through this tunnel, as I said to Eric Weathers, it's already over for you. You don't want to be heading this, you don't want to be going down into the catacombs this way. Let's just say that. I should just be able to use the old gradient tool for this, I think. Let's see how we go anyway. Nope, wrong way. You go out there. I don't know the new gradient function very well. How do I invert that now? Reverse? Oh, there we go. Easy. Easy. Exactly how blue I want it. All right, that looks pretty good. That's pretty good. Eric Grant says, hello, everyone, and good night. I'm off to bed. Well, hello to you too, Eric, and good night. Now, I need to... the fun part. Jay says, Michael is doing well, thank you. He says, Michael is doing a phenomenal job. Thank you very much. Let me see how this looks. Let's knock this down to 50%. So at this point, I'm just going to essentially, whoa, okay. Let's take it down to 25 then in that case. At this point, I'm just going to essentially try and paint in just like flat highlights. And then I'm going to use that to brush. And it's just going to be kind of pretty. I just got to kind of go for it and just do whatever. Can't be too precious about it. Figure it out how exactly I want to do it. Just so you can imagine the light is coming in from the top somewhere. As we go down into the dark. And these top ones are going to be the most detailed, and it's just going to gradually recede away. At least that's the hope. I'm going to try and, I guess, make shadows as I go. I wish I was like Shant and could just talk real philosophical subjects as I work. I know how he does it too. He described how his mind works to me, and it's the problem is my mind does not work in any way like that. So I guess I'm just stuck rambling as I go. Although a lot of people do just work in silence, so I guess it's, rambling is better than nothing. No, I want to be Shanthan Jetty, Richie, not Jermaine Greer. Obviously. See you, Jasper. Hope you're well. I will endeavor to get you your t-shirt sooner rather than later. And Mel will continue to push me and bug me about it on your behalf. Now, I'm not just going to leave these as flat colors, so it won't look so flat once it's done. I am going to use these as sort of a mask to brush in a bit more three-dimensionality. That's how I work, essentially. It's kind of a cross, it's a mix between cell shading and painting. Thank you, Russ. I hope I didn't let you down. He said he was expecting a masterpiece. I hope I delivered. I think it's going to make a really cool bookmark, at least. And it's, you know, it's really the whole thing. It's a painted death, after all. It's all connected. Godblade says Narwhal has a very free way of doing highlights and shadows. I'd be interested. I've developed this way as a means that I think I can get the maximum effect out of the minimum amount of work that I can possibly do on interiors. I can obviously do more, but you've got to balance it and say, look, at some point, eventually you just have to, you know, realize that you got to move on and, you know, get more done. And coloring already takes the longest, I think, by far, out of anything in the process. At least for me, it does. Unless it's a really crazy, intensely detailed page, but still, even they take a huge amount of time to color. This head here is massive. That's a big boy. Man, it's at this point you're like, you know, the never-ending story. Got a long way to go. Not too much. That's the thing about making comics. You just can't stop to think what you're actually doing. Because if you do, you know, bad thoughts start coming into your head. Well, not really at this point. I'm so used to it now. But it's such a friggin' massive undertaking. It's like the magic pudding, says many times. Is it? I have to take your word for it. Are you up drawing, Skip? Comics are addicting as well, says Darkside. Just can't stop buying them. I love when I read a good one. I kind of had forgotten that because I've gotten so focused on just, making my own and hadn't really stopped to smell the roses enough. And ever since I decided I'm going to start talking about them more, and I made a conscious effort to start reading them again more, I've really been appreciating when one is good. And I just want to, when I get a good one, I want to just shout about it and say, everybody, because there's so many bad comics out there from everywhere, from the mainstream, from the indies, inside CG, outside CG. There's just so many terrible books out there, and it's hard. That's why the Move the Needle was such a great idea. It's a shame that it, got squashed. It was people en masse talking about the comics they were reading and enjoying. And it was so great for, knowing what to avoid or what to look for. Because people just don't talk about it anymore because it doesn't bring the crowd. And I get that. I mean, it's demoralizing. Building up an audience years and years and years, and then it's just, anyone can come along and talk about the latest new whoever everyone's angry at that day, and you get 10 times the views. But I think in the end goal should be, it would be the best if the indie comic scene could be like the indie music scene, in the sense that, radio stations just want to play good music because they know that the people who listen to it just want to listen to good music. I don't know if it's ever going to get to that. I don't know if it can, because it's a completely different medium. But I don't know. I think it would be cool if it could. We have Mr. Jim Cox in the house, posting the link to everyone go sign up to the Shadow Kingdom, which I do believe is launching soon. I've spoken to Russ about it. I can't remember the exact dates off the top of my head. Thank you, Jim. It's great to hang out with Russ again. It's been too long. Gossip is lowbrow entertainment. Yeah, probably, but it's popular. It always has been, and it always will be. It's just, it's got nothing to do with comics. That's human nature. That's just, I don't know if anyone's immune to that. Is what it is. And I'm sure that goes on in every popular thing as well. In fact, I know it is. It's just, at the same time, this is a creative endeavor, and people are, I hope they are putting their heart and souls into these creations. And I do worry that, I know, because I've occasionally I'll get one. Like the other day, I got Star Noir. I was like, he's on his second book. I hadn't even really paid much attention to it. I heard about it once just because I saw the art and I thought it was cool. But this is a great book that at least no one I hang out with had been talking about until I saw Neff talking about it. And that's just the way it is. There's no point complaining about it. It is the way it is, and you got to figure out how to go forward yourself. Try to become the next Kirkman or Eastman or someone. People love the drama. That's why reality TV is always so big. Exactly. Yeah. There's no reason to fight it. It is what it is. You just accept it and learn to exist around it. Good morning, Amanda. How are you? We are doing skulls today. Because why not? Eric is still up, posting links like a champ. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Jim. Afternoon for Marinus. And evening for me. All right, I got to start thinking about having less light hit these guys as we go down further. How that might look. I think it would just catch on the outer side. I guess on the front of the face, not so much on the back. You know, I was on Eric Weathers' did a stream earlier. Guess he was in the chat again. Blast from the past. Leroy himself just left a single passing comment about how he had a under the same book that Eric did. It's like it was 2021 all over again. Amanda says we spring forward this Sunday. Oh, you guys going into daylight savings, which means usually means my streaming, normal streaming time changes as well. As in, I start streaming. Enjoy doing it at 1. Means I have more time to prepare. Leroy did a few solo streams last month. Yeah, I did catch a little bit of it. He wasn't speaking in any of them, so he was just playing sumo things in one of them. I didn't see him actually say anything. Phil said he did, but I didn't see it. Perth says my Death Swan has been shipped back that in 2020. I got it. I didn't read it. That really is a thing. Like, if you have to wait too long, you just don't even care anymore. It looks amazing. I haven't heard anyone talking about it though. You know, it looks great. God, he did an amazing job on it. But you know, oh, I've got so many others I need to get to. I sincerely believe he is clearly shipping that out of his own pocket, which I applaud. Which it's probably why it's, you know, he's doing it in batches. Is Leroy the guy who used to stream with Shane? Yes. Yeah, that's where we met Shane. Well, that's where we met Leroy. Actually, well, he did used to come into my stream as well. He had a different name back then that I think he told me at one point, but I don't know if I remember it. But yeah, he was OG. He's been around a long time. And he started the show, The Chat. Which Vanessa and Amanda now do with Stat and Stippling Vaughn, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Eric says you can probably just end the highlights there. I will end. I think I'm going to end them around here, and then because they're not going to stay this bright, so they'll be visible but barely visible. But even down here, it's just going to literally be like that. You know, it's not going to be that bright, but well, you'll see. You'll see how I do it. But I just got to. I think they're going to go quicker now. So a lot of them are just, you know, swipes. Skip says Leroy has been catching my streams. Definitely felt like the good old days. Jeremy, Mo Biggs, Leroy, and Amanda B all stopping by. Amanda says, "Yep," and with rare appearances from Guapo and Kay. Oh man, haven't heard from Kay in forever. That's good to hear. The gang's all still around. Yeah, the shipping is crazy, Perth. Especially if you funded something in 2020, like 4 years ago. Even if you somehow miraculously still had that money, which I don't see how you could, like the tax department would come and get it at some point. Even if you had some really clever business company loophole, like eventually I think they would get it over 4 years. Even then it wouldn't be enough because of the shipping hike. So yeah, you got to be that's another reason why I think just so many good things come about if you can get a book out fairly quickly, if you can, and if you know that there's an actual audience who's interested in what you're doing. Like everyone's talking about, I'm going to get my book done, have it fully done before it's even launched, and it's commendable and fine if you know that people actually want it and you can afford it. But yeah, I'm seeing people invest large amounts of money into these things, sort of sight unseen, and that's a big gamble. And I love to gamble. Not that I like to gamble when there's I got a pretty good chance of winning. Rip Leroy, he's still alive. He's still with us. Leroy always said he will give it all up the moment it stops being fun. And it stopped being fun. It got too serious, got too real. People got, we all know how it gets. Especially, Leroy never shied away from speaking his mind, and people aren't always down with that. Right, now we're really getting to them. These are what I call Terminator lines. I don't know where. I think I picked that term up from Colors with Kurt. I might have picked it up from somewhere else though, but it's just because it's where the highlight terminates. I think it's an old animation cell shading term, but I will go in and soften these up later. Amanda says she heard from Kay a couple of weeks ago. He's been busy. Good to hear. Yeah, that's how it is, though. No one stays unless you really kind of plant roots and try to set something up long term, which is pretty much what I'm trying to do. No one really stays around forever, and it's good. People come and go. Like, we didn't have Oz Great Sage in here for years, and now he's back and he's hanging out, and it's great. But he was one of the ones we thought we'd lost forever. Skip was another one. I hadn't seen Skip in a long time, and now he's a lot more active. And some people are just lurking, or watching replays, and people's schedules change and priorities change. The churn, as it were. For years, says Hargrave. It's probably, I don't think there's any highlights getting down there, so I think we can cut that out. All right. I'm gonna just check out this color. Let's see if that's what I want. Looking good. Bancroft says Perth, thank you. I don't really watch shorts. Oh, talking about skip shorts. He says, I literally never left. Did you? You guys just don't watch my shorts. I don't know. Jim says he wants nothing to do with Skip's shorts. I don't blame him. Michael Teacher, Rob's biggest fan, says, time will prove that only Rob had true staying power. Time will tell, I'm sure. Right. Let's see what we got here. This is the moment of truth. This is the fun part. It doesn't ever last very long, but it is fun to do. It's too yellow, but that's okay. I'm trying to judge it off what I've already got, because I need it to sort of look similar. How many skulls? Asked Jonas. I didn't personally count. Maybe we could do one of those things. Like, if you can guess the number of skulls, you can win a magnet. um, there's something off, and I don't know what it is. But I will figure it out. Each of the skulls has a word balloon on the script. Tons of exposition on this one. Each one is saying something. It's like a little story. Everyone has a story to tell. I was a baker. I was a blacksmith. I lit the street lights back in 1712. You know? Could work. Each skull has to give us its name and a brief description of their personality. Yeah, that would be fantastic reading. Who wouldn't want that? Magnets, says Joe Sol. The good old times when I asked Shane how they worked, and he went on a spiral, and the ICP meme was born. Fucking magnets, how do they work? All right. Well, give it the old flipperoni. Get back to work. That's not bad, actually. I like that. Oh, well, that's good. I'll just double it up. Yeah, I think it was the contrast that was kind of throwing me off, but if I double up the layer, that sort of sorts that out, and it doesn't actually affect the shadow. Cool. Sometimes you make a mistake and it works out just fine. All right. How far? Inglorious Rex must be getting pretty close at this point, I would imagine. I don't think Shane's ever been late in anything, so I can imagine he must be getting close to getting finished. Didn't maybe he did finish? I thought he finished all the line art. Mistakes are my best teacher, says Gotblade. Or it's just a lot of I think he said there was 9 days left. Oh, on the campaign, but I mean, you know, how far off for the actual book to be out? I can't imagine there'd be much. I'm really interested in reading that because it's one of the I don't really talk about Inglorious Rex as much as other books. I'm quietly confident, but I've been confident before on some other series that I thought were going somewhere and then didn't. I think I am going to like where it goes, but I'm sort of reserving judgment. I hope it's going to go in the direction, and if I think I know the sort of things Shane is into. You know, like it's clearly, at least with the architecture and stuff, it's clearly like Akira influences and stuff like that. But yeah, I think there's a. Well, I'm looking forward to reading this second one. Shane is at the lettering stage. Excellent. Yeah, I gotta get to that stage too. Believe it or not, the final dialogue in Painted Death still isn't 100%. It's just one of those, it's something I work on the whole time. You never really stop working on it. And we're trying to, Joe and I are trying to get in do some interesting things with, a few pages have narration on them. We did that in Waking Dream as well. And just trying to figure that out as well. But I spoke to Eric today and he's ready to go. Thank you everyone for hanging out this strange hour, by the way. Still 30 people in here, which is very cool. As I hack at this. I'm purposefully trying not to be precise because these skulls are old and they'd be quite wretched and crumbly, and skulls themselves are just a bit of a mess. Does anyone start a book with only part of the story written? Start drawing it? People have their different methods. I know some people don't write any dialogue. They just write what's happening in the book. They know what happens, but they don't know exactly what people say. I write a ton of stuff. I have too much. So my pages are covered in dialogue. And obviously, that can't all stay. In fact, most of it has to go. So I kind of overload it with dialogue. At least that's how I've worked on my stuff. And then I chisel at it. And I just, I'm in a constant process of trying to remove words. And then Joe comes in and takes out even more. And at first I go, oh, but, and then it always ends up fine. It depends on the story you're writing. Some you can do that. I don't think with this you could. A story like The Lucent, you have to know what's going to happen because there has to be setups, payoffs. But the Marvel method is to just tell the story visually and worry about the dialogue later. And I've done that. I've done that for a few sequences when I knew what was going to happen and I didn't really know what they were going to say, and that worked out fine as well. But only for a few sequences. I like to give my dialogue a few months to sort of sit there, so I can chew on it and kind of forget it. So doing it all at the very end is a little bit risky in my mind. You could end up with something pretty bad, but some people get it done. Coppola says, I write without knowing where it's going. Yeah, I started doing that when I first started, and it didn't work out for me. I know some people do that. They call it the, like the, what is it? The plotter versus the something. I can't remember, but yeah, I couldn't do that with my kind of story. But I guess with different stories, you can get away with certain things, and it actually could end up being better. Hello, Geronimo. Dropping them skulls. I'm starting to get cross-eyed here. It's 11:30. We did the one side. Hang on. Should look like that. You can feel like where it's headed, I think. Down into the deep blue abyss. Might need a bit of a bigger transition on that blue. Try something out there. Maybe this shouldn't be so bright. Skip says, I'm not going to read my book until it's done so I can enjoy it as a customer. That's what they say. George Lucas said that. He's like, I've never seen Star Wars. And, you stop to think about it. Yeah, the writer never gets to actually experience their story. They're the omniscient being within the story. The hand behind it. So it's kind of true, but you get to understand it in a way that no one else does. So I guess there's that. Jake Martin just became a member, and I was about to end the stream, Jake. So thank you very much for that. Sliding on in there. I'll give you one of these.
You little ripper!
Thank you.
You little ripper!
I did not mean to hit that. You are a little ripper twice, though. I think that's good. I'm just going to do that on the other side, and then that'll be done. I'm proud of this. In 24 hours, I got all these skulls drawn and mostly colored just after dinner. So I was worried about this. I thought, oh my God, how long is this going to friggin' take me? And, a day ain't bad. I'll take that. How many pages left? So I have to fit in a new panel on one of the pages because that wasn't working. There's 3 or 4 faces I need to redraw because they're drawn fine, but I want them to look different. I want them to have a different expression. So there's that. I have a double page spread which I'm anticipating will take me about 2 weeks to do. That's the spread where on the cover, you got Ella kind of flying up. That's a rough approximation of that. It's not going to look exactly the same in the book. And then that's all the art done. Now, Joe will probably have some fixes for me to do. They generally don't take too long. It just depends on how many there are. He said there won't be anywhere near as many as on the first book. And then that'll be that. There's, I think I've got 17 pages left to color, but most of them, so there's 15 of them, are like 90% done. 2 weeks for one drawing? Who are you, Rob Willis? 2 weeks for one double page spread. Well, it's a double page spread, but there's probably going to be 7 things on it. There's going to be a big image in the middle, and then there's going to be 6 other smaller panels. But it's going to be buildings. And I know when I get into the buildings, yeah, it's a little bit laborious. And it has to hit. I can't skimp on it. I've kind of been putting it off. But thank you for the vote of confidence there, Jim. Yeah, I'm a slow drawer. I'm never have been very quick. Like while I'm doing all that, I'm gonna have Eric doing the letters. So that'll be happening while I'm working, which is fantastic. And then there's the pre-press, and the pre-press is making sure that the the colors are ready for print and everything, which it doesn't take very long per page, but there's close to 100 pages of art. So I'm going to probably just take some time off work and then just absolutely just smash that out. Then it'll be done. I feel like Frodo. If I'm Frodo on this journey, I am at the bottom of Mount Doom. I think I'm like right there, but that's the hard part. Like you noticed that was the hardest part for him, like having to lift himself up and get there. He almost like it's always like that right at the end. But yeah. Who's Sam? Samwise Gamgee. You're welcome. No, I'm going to send out an email update probably tomorrow, maybe the day after, if I just get around to it. And yeah, and thank you to whoever just backed me, by the way. I just got a little message. So thank you. That's it for me. I'm gonna go to bed. It is 20 to midnight. I've got another full day ahead of me tomorrow. Thank you for hanging out. Always a pleasure. And I will see you in the chat tomorrow. I won't be streaming tomorrow, but I'll see you in the chat. I'll be at work, so I want something to listen to while I work. Until then, have a great night. Bye, guys.
Individually, we are weak, like a single twig. But as a bundle, we form a mighty